Wake up, stand up, brother, sister! Wake up, stand up, brother, sister!
Hey everyone, Edy Yang here from Epic Gesture Productions. This episode we're going to show you a few clips from Japan Expo USA as well as an interview with the man who put together Japan Expo's first impact in the US. Japan Expo is a Japanese pop culture convention originating in France and holding the title as one of the biggest conventions of its kind in Europe. At first glance, the exhibitors, dealers, concerts, and cosplays make this seem like every other anime convention. But what makes Japan Expo the unique convention it is the insight they offer into the traditional Japanese culture. With works displayed from various traditional Japanese artists and ceremonies put on by its many performers, Japan Expo offers a look into Japanese culture using anime and manga as a gateway to bring us closer to Japan. August 23rd to 25th marks Japan Expo's first Impact debut in the US. Japan Expo's choice of starting anew in a place that has seen many Japanese pop culture conventions made us wonder, what does it take to localize and put on a show of its name and size here in the US? For that we talked to Sean, CEO and Chair of Japan Expo USA.
I am the CEO and I'm the chairman of the board for Step Entertainment, the company that puts on Japan Expo. I actually was the convention chairman for Otakon in 2007, 2008, and 2010. Formerly also their president, vice president, comptroller, treasurer, secretary, correspondence secretary, sat on the board of directors for a couple of years, ran their volunteer program. The only position on their board of directors I never held was comptroller, and I'm really disappointed because it's kind of like a Pokemon's collector's thing. I really wanted it, I could never do it. It takes a willingness to work ludicrous hours for really low pay and a passion for Japan and a passion for sharing Japan. But adversities, I can name a bunch. My wife actually got hit by a car in Japan about 6 months ago, and I had to split my time between here and Japan for that. I think my average work week is around 100 hours a week, and in the past month I've gotten about 3 hours sleep a night. And that's because I love doing what I do. It's because it's fantastic, and it takes a lot of interpersonal relationships. Like I've talked to, like I just got done talking to every single vendor in my booth saying thank you for coming. It's just challenges like that, but it becomes part and parcel of the job, and I don't think I trade it for anything. Oh, if you got me started, there's a couple things. For pop culture stuff, I started out into anime with Urusei Yatsura. So I've watched anime and manga. I've watched anime, read manga my entire life, and really I love some of the more traditional things. My goal one day is to be Ohinro and do the 88 temples on Shikoku and hike. I fell in love with Tokushima. That I could bring Awa Adore dance to my stage was part of a big dream of mine, and that was a fantastically attended performance, and everyone had a real good time there. I see it being no easier, but I see it still being something I love to do. There are obviously things we need to fix after first year. It's any show. If you're going to be a good show, you're going to look at what you did first year and say, how can I make it even better year two? And that's definitely what we're going to do. It's been a long weekend. There have been some challenges that we'll definitely be needing to fix for next year, but overall, I'm really happy with how the hall the hall kind of looks. I was really happy with the kind of acceptance of the cultural stuff we try to put out there. We know we have some challenges for next year, but I think overall I'm really happy with the show. It's no secret we're not a nonprofit corporation. We are very, very open about that. In fact, our parent company is not allowed to be a nonprofit by French law. We have a couple of core staff that run year round, mainly our sales department and stuff that needs to be kind of set up long run. Our CG department is also year round. Aside from that, we have crew. We don't have volunteers. Everyone here is getting a stipend of some sort, so we're nice and clear with that. We kind of feel that if you're a for-profit company, you should maybe not be taking volunteers. It doesn't feel right for us to do it. All of our staff in France are also paid. We have probably about 65 crew this year. Our staff from France is 16, and our American staff is around 14 or 15. We actually had 14 of our core staff from, 16 of our core staff come over from France to make sure that the show ran smoothly and that, we're taking the model that was born in France and kind of adapting it right to market, because there are lots of changes, obviously, for localization that have to happen. But other than that, we had a large amount of American crew. We made sure we were trilingual, English, French, and Japanese. We have a bunch of Spanish speakers on staff. And that's actually some of the things we'll do next year, is expand the availability of languages. We were a little bit understaffed. We hired some outside security to kind of fill in those gaps. Our registration went smooth as heck. I don't think there was a line up front. There wasn't a line at registration. We definitely avoided that. I think we could use more staff, and we'd love to have more people applying and start that process early in the year. What we'd actually like to do is start developing our staffers early, so we can say, hey, these are the skills you need to do. Let's work with you then. So when you come back and you get better as staffer, it's just like we need to improve, we want to make sure our staff does. Run with a much smaller crew than most conventions are. We'll probably need to fix our numbers with that in the future. I think, we offer some unique things. We know we have to be different than every other show. We can't just be the same anime show. We're not founded in the 90s. We're not founded during the boom. We know that. So we got to find a way to get people to want to come to our show. I think we did a bunch of satisfaction surveys at our show, and we've got a lot of really good positive comments of we're coming back. We love the cultural part, so we hope to be popular. We don't want to be like, well, we're going to be #1 right away, but we'd like to grow a community that really appreciates coming to the show. And part of my job as a convention runner is made so much easier if you guys love coming to the show. With any show, you're really trying to generate a community around the show if one doesn't already exist. We kind of feel in Northern California, there's a really, really strong community around Japanese contents already, and we're trying to tap into that, trying to get them to come out to the show. I agree. We kind of do things a little bit differently. We work very closely with the consulate to kind of give a performance. Our performance on Saturday had something like 160 people in it, doing awa dori dancing, mochi pounding, a lot of really cool things that are not commonly found at cons, like you said. So one of the things we have, because we are our parent company, it's not our first year running, actually, it's our 14th year in Paris. We have a really strong tie with the Japanese government and Edy and with the consulate, and we work with them to find really unique things to bring to our show. We had a lot of help also from the Japantown Merchants Association, both in San Jose and in San Francisco. We kind of feel that's like one of the heart of Japanese culture. We try to be a gateway to Japan. When you look at the anime and manga, you see little hints of it. What we want to do is introduce people to those, and by using anime and manga as kind of the gateway into doing it, it's kind of what we'd love to do. Actually, there are remarkably few differences between the two. First and foremost, I think we're going to look at the hours that we're running, maybe running a little later programming. Some things we do in France don't work quite as well. Some things we actually are very happy with. We're going to keep the cultural part. We'll expand the programming like video rooms, as long as people want to go to them. The thing we have to do is we'll come from here and look at we tally count as to who goes to what, and it helps us to decide what we should spend more time on, what we should spend more money on. And one of the things we'll really be doing is asking for feedback from the community that we generate, asking our Facebook fans to tell us what was right, tell us what was wrong. That's something we are fantastically good on, because we're not run by a committee. When you tell me we did something wrong, I say, you know what, we did something wrong, let's fix it. Some of the things that we don't do in France, that we do in France that we don't do here, was like the one in, one out thing, which had such a negative reception. It was like, you know what, let's change that. Because man, oh man, do people not like that one. And it's things like that when we hear feedback on, it's very important for us to change that. Sadamoto-san was fantastic. Right now, what we're missing as we speak is him doing a live drawing at the end of his panel. Kozaki was fantastic. One of the best attended events for the entire weekend was Felipe Smith doing a drawing battle versus Yusei Kozaki. We have a bunch of friends, both US side and Japan side, that we're working with, and I think next year you'll see maybe a few of the same faces. Not all of them. Like, I can't promise that Sadamoto will be back because his schedule is very busy. But I'd love to have Felipe up again. I'd love to have Kozaki back. They're just tremendous, and they were lots of fun. And you know what? If I was to pick one, it just sounds kind of silly to have year on year. I want Owen Dunn to come back year on year and cheer everywhere. Really high energy, really high, as the Japanese would say, high tension. We did a lot of research, and Santa Clara Convention Center is really friendly when it comes to new shows coming in. In fact, if you know the history of anime, it actually started at Santa Clara. So it's a good center to get started in. It's a good place to make our first show. But we'll always look at where we could be in Northern California. One of the things we will commit to is that we will be in Northern California when it comes to second. We had strong pre-reg, mainly on Saturday, because we found out after we had signed our contract that one of the pieces of information we got was a little bit wrong as to when kids went back to school. So maybe we'll talk about shifting our dates again next year. But they were strong enough to firmly commit to say we're coming back for you too. We'll let you guys. We'll definitely let you know that shortly. It helps for negotiations if I tell you no date or no location yet. We had a couple people who had some challenges with how we run things. And, we definitely listen to that feedback, because if someone's unhappy, there's a chance that maybe someone who is happy also maybe felt the same thing, but had a different view of things. A lot of the confusion comes with being where they can enter and exit from the building. I think looking next year, having check-in, check-out stations at all entrances instead of just one will make it a little easier for everyone. That being said, we'll be posting information about how to give us feedback later, because we want feedback. It's not like we want to operate in isolation. We need everyone's feedback as to what we should do better and what they want to see from the show. Because we have ideas, but we know we need to ask what the fan community wants. We will keep that responsiveness. That will be what I think people will notice. If you say something's wrong and it really is wrong, we'll fix it. And that's kind of what we need to be customer service oriented, because we're coming to this from the business side, that we need to make our customers who come back here on happy and happier every time they come back. I see Japan Expo in the future taking what's best from this year and growing, looking to see what we need to change, and looking to see how we can make the best show possible for the fans, for the community, and for everyone involved. Oh, 3 years from now, I would say it's going to be a very fun year 3 years from now. I think by that time our show will be well developed, and we'll have fine-tuned it to the point where we'll be looking at where we can go next. 3 to 5 years is where we kind of start examining what's next for Japan Expo USA, and we'll see where we go from there. But definitely Northern California, hopefully around the same time. I hope everyone had a great time. Please give us your feedback. If there's anything that we can change to make it better for you, we want to listen, and we want to learn, we want to grow, and we want you to come back for year 2. And for all the people who came, really from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming.
So there you have it, Japan Expo's first impact in the US. Given that it's a new convention, there are some challenges here and there, but I felt that as an attendee, it was a lot of fun, had a great community feel to it, and offered a lot of unique things that I didn't see at many other conventions. Seeing as how there's a second impact on the horizon, give them your feedback, tell them what you'd like to see, tell them if there's any improvements, and they'll get right on it. Well, that wraps up our episode for today. I'm Edy Yang, signing off.
Kiseki!